Hi guys, welcome to Rajshri Food. This is the Bombay Chef Varun Inamdar, and today I'm going to teach you different ways in which you can cut an onion. I understand it sounds very easy, but it's not as easy as it sounds. But I promise, by the end of this video, you will start cutting an onion, maybe not as swiftly as that of a restaurant cook, but definitely, and I promise, definitely much efficiently than you had been cutting before. So let's begin different ways in which you can cut an onion. Before moving on to the core ingredient, which is an onion, let's look at the tools that we require. The first one is a sharp knife and the second one is a cutting board. To create a firm grip for the cutting board, I'm actually using a tissue paper which goes straight on the table, and on this I'm going to splash some water, something like this, and right on this I'm going to press the cutting board. Well, now if you see, this does not move very easily. And alternately, if you do not have tissue paper, you can also use a wet cloth. Now let's begin with the core ingredient, which is the onion. So let's first understand how an onion looks like. So here if you notice, it looks like a bulb which grows underground. And here there's a residual stalk which actually extends into the leaves and the flowers. Here there's a little bit of residual root which needs to be cut off. So to hold the onion on the table, you need to develop a firm grip using your thumb, your index finger, and possibly your middle finger and the rest of the fingers. Through this arch that we've created here, I'm going to slide a knife very carefully and press this against the cutting board. Something like this. So here I have two parts of an onion, of which I'm now going to remove the cap as little as possible. The second step is to turn it around and slice off the root part. Now, if you notice, there's a paper thin cover which actually is the skin of this onion. I'm going to peel that again as little as possible. This now goes in this bowl of water. Now this goes here for two reasons. One is because if you notice an onion, it develops sometimes a powdery coating, a black colored powder, which possibly could also be fungus. Secondly, if you notice, sulfur is a chemical which is naturally present in an onion, which it absorbs over the period of many months, staying in the soil. That is the chemical that actually makes your eyes water. And by doing this, it just reduces. The second method is to freeze it for somewhere around 8 to 10 minutes. It's equally efficient, but it utilizes your freezer for some time. Let's cut some more onions before we begin. I'm now going to quickly give this a rinse to wash away all the fungal activity that has been developing on these dry onions. Let's begin with the first cut, which is the onion slice. For that, I'm going to keep this side down so the cut surface rests on the board, and have a very firm grip with all your fingers in place. The second step is to take your knife and rest it against your knuckles so that you do not slice them off in the whole process of cutting this onion. Now nicely, gradually and evenly make these fine cuts, which can be as fine as possible. Gradually keep sliding your fingers backwards as the knife keeps approaching. Now if you look at the motion of the knife very carefully, I'm just forming an incision and going in deeper. Now for this, it's very, very, very important to have a very sharp knife. A sharp knife is imperative because a blunt knife may just slide and slice off your finger. Let's do this once again now. This knife has a rocking motion, so I create an incision and then press it against me. Well, there are some who are also comfortable cutting it by pulling the knife towards themselves like this. This is pushing it away from you, slowly and steadily, and this motion is now pulling it towards you. Whichever the cut or whichever the motion, just make sure at no point in time the onion gets wobbly. Now when you reach the end of this, you just rest it and you push it down and then continue slicing it. Another step which is very crucial to cutting any vegetable is the speed. Well, that comes through practice. At this stage, do not concentrate on speed, but the precision and accuracy of getting the cut of that vegetable right. Well, I have cut these slices very thinly because I'm going to use these for fried onions that obviously go beautifully well with biryanis and pilavs. But nevertheless, you can cut them a little thicker in case you wish them to use in salads. Now, slicing can be of two methods. What we just did is a vertical slice. Let's look at the horizontal slice now. So instead of cutting it like this, I'm now going to turn it around and start slicing it this way. So let's begin. The grip remains the same and you slide it against your knuckles like this. Now again, the thinness or the thickness can be adjusted. This horizontally cut onion can be beautifully accommodated in your tossed salads or can also go very well with your accompanying salads to tandoor or kebab items. Let's move to the third cut, which is the chopping. For chopping an onion, all you need to do is use the tip part of your knife and run it something like this. Now the motion is pulling the knife towards yourself and making incisions as thin as possible. Now here, if you notice, the onion is still attached almost somewhere around half a centimeter still to the root side. Once you reach the end, hold it firmly and turn the angle. Now is the time to cut this horizontally, but make sure you keep your fingers safe. Run a knife again in a rocking motion and make sure you make even and close cuts. When you reach the end of this onion, all you need to do is slice it thinly, hold these together, turn the angle and continue chopping. With your fingers, keep pushing the slices under the knife. So this is how you get a finely chopped onion. Well, the remaining onions, which are thicker, can also be cut something like this in a rocking motion. The rocking motion is when you hold the tip of your knife very firmly and apply the rocking motion with the other hand. Make sure you keep your fingers as safe as possible and away from the blade. This chopped onion can be used for your gravies, masalas, or for your garnishes on chaats. Let's begin with the fourth cut, which is the dice. A dice could be in three sizes: small, medium, and large. Let's begin with the smaller one first. Let's first cut onions into thick slices. Something like this. Now this could be somewhere around half a centimeter thick. Turn the angle and continue slicing horizontally. Run your fingers through this and release all the petals, and what you now have here is the small dice. Let's move on to the medium dice. The size of the slice in the medium dice, so this could be somewhere around 1.5 centimeters thick. Let's move to the large dice, for the large dice you just cut the half onion into 3, giving 2 incisions and simultaneously changing the angle and giving it 2 more incisions. What you have here, after running your fingers through this, is now a large dice. These various sizes of diced onions can be used as per the demand of the recipe. Let's now move to petals. The petals by far are the easiest cut of an onion. For that, all you need to do is take this half onion and cut it into 2. Pick this up and release each and every petal. Something like this. This is a cut that can be used when you're grilling meat like a satay or for a sizzler, or even as a topping for your kadhai sabzi. Let's move on to the next cut, which is cutting an onion in roundels. For this, the peeling method is different from what I had shown you earlier. So let's look at this. For this, you need to place the onion sideways and slice off the cap. Turn it around and slice off the root as well. Give it an incision. While peeling this, try to remove as less as possible to avoid wastage and control your food cost. Let's give a quick rinse to wash away all the black fungal activity from this onion. I'm turning this onion sideways with a firm grip at the base. Very safely and very slowly, I'm going to give an incision and press this downwards. Now the thinness or the thickness can be adjusted. Well, these roundels can be used as your accompanying garnishes. Alternately, if you release these rings, they can also be used very well for your tempuras, fritters, bhajias, pakoras, or even onion rings for that matter. So we learned 5 things today. 1 is to have a sharp knife. 2 is to secure your cutting board in a firm place. 3 is to prevent your eyes from watering. 4th is the various cuts of an onion. 5th and the most important is safety. See you soon.